On my birthday, I nearly died in a car wreck. I was rushed to the hospital, covered in blood, only to run into my fiancée, who was supposed to be on a business trip. She was sitting there, doting on another man, keeping him company while he was hooked up to an 4. That man was the one who got away. Her first love, the one she swore she was over. Our eyes met. Panic flashed across her face, leaving her speechless. I forced a smile, though the cuts under my bandages stung with every movement. Small world, I muttered. Then I turned and walked away. The moment I turned my back on her, I realized with crystal clarity, we were done. The smell of antiseptic stung my nose, making my eyes water. I sat on a bench outside the ER, blood seeping through the gauze on my forehead, my left arm in a cast and sling. The doctor said I had a mild concussion and wanted to keep me for observation. I ignored him. My mind was stuck on loop, replaying the scene I'd just witnessed. Elena Ross, my fiancée, carefully peeling an orange for another man. I knew him. Gavin Zeller, her ex-boyfriend from college. The man she claimed was ancient history. She told me she was in Portland for a crucial project and would be back in 3 days. But here she was, in a Seattle hospital, nursing him. I pulled out my phone. The screen was shattered, the cracks looking like an ugly spiderweb. It was my birthday, just past midnight. Elena had sent me a sweet text promising a celebration when she returned. What a joke. I tapped on her contact photo, a picture of us on the beach, her smile radiant. I had just updated it yesterday. My finger hovered over the delete button, trembling, but I didn't press it. Deleting it now was letting her off too easy. A nurse walked over, handing me a billing statement. Mr. Vance, your admission paperwork is done. Please settle the bill at the counter. I took the paper. The numbers made my temples throb. I stood up and headed toward the billing window. My wallet had vanished somewhere in the wreckage of my car, so I had to use Apple Pay. Just as I pulled up the interface, a familiar voice sounded behind me, laced with panic and hesitation. Caleb, it was Elena. I didn't turn around. My body went rigid as stone. She rushed in front of me, blocking my path. Her eyes were wide with terror, her face paler than I'd ever seen. What? What are you doing here? You're hurt? Is it bad? She fired off questions, reaching out to touch my arm. I sidestepped her, and her hand hovered awkwardly in midair. Weren't you on a business trip? I stared into her eyes. My voice wasn't loud, but it was cold enough to freeze the air between us. Her gaze darted away, unable to meet mine. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. He's sick. His stomach ulcers flared up. I just came to check on him. She finally squeezed the words out, her voice barely a whisper. Check on him. I let out a dry, humorless laugh. You were pretty thorough, even peeling oranges for him. The blood drained from Elena's face. She stepped forward, grabbing my sleeve in desperation. It's not what you think. There's nothing going on between Gavin and me. He's all alone here. He has no one to take care of him. I was just... Let go. My voice was devoid of warmth. She flinched, instinctively releasing her grip. Just then, a lazy, arrogant male voice cut in. Elena, who are you talking to? Gavin walked over, one hand pressing against his stomach. He looked pale, but his eyes held a look of condescending appraisal. He saw my battered state, and a smirk played on his lips. Well, isn't this Caleb Vance? What happened to you? His eyes swept over my cast and the gauze on my head. There was no concern, only amusement. Elena looked nervously at me, then at Gavin. Don't say that. He was in a car accident. Accident. Gavin raised an eyebrow. That's unfortunate. Bad timing, really. I get sick and you get in a wreck. Making Elena run back and forth between us. She's exhausted. The gloating and provocation in his words were like needles pricking my eardrums. I looked at Elena. She had her head down, silent, tacitly accepting Gavin's narrative. My heart constricted violently, stealing my breath. I had given her everything, treated her like a queen, but in her eyes, I wasn't as important as her ex-boyfriend's stomachache. I was the inconvenience, the accident she didn't plan for. I took a deep breath, swallowing the bitterness rising in my throat. The medical bill. You pay it. I looked at Elena, stating it calmly. She froze. Gavin froze too, then let out a scoff. Caleb, you're a grown man, and you can't even pay your own hospital bill? You need a woman to cover you. I ignored him, keeping my eyes locked on Elena. She shifted uncomfortably under my gaze. She reached in her bag for her phone, her voice pleading. Caleb, let's go home and talk. Not here. Pay it. I repeated, my tone leaving no room for argument. It wasn't that I couldn't afford it. It was the principle. The money in her account was for our future house renovations. Money I had earned. Every cent I had invested in us. She was going to cough up. This was just the first installment. Elena's face cycled through shades of pale and red. Gavin stood by, fanning the flames. Elena, ignore him. A man being this stingy? It's pathetic. Elena bit her lip, but eventually unlocked her phone, scanning my QR code with palpable reluctance. The sharp ding of the transaction confirmation echoed. I pocketed my phone, didn't spare them another glance, and walked away. Caleb, Elena shouted behind me. I didn't stop. Walking out the hospital doors, the cold night wind hit my face, clearing some of the fog in my brain. I didn't go home. That place, filled with our shared memories and decorations, would only make me sick. I found a nearby hotel and checked in. After showering and changing out of my blood and dirt-stained clothes, I looked at my battered reflection in the mirror. The wound on my forehead throbbed, but it was nothing compared to the ache in my chest. I picked up my phone and opened an encrypted album. It contained a backup of my chat history with Elena from the day we met, along with photos and videos from our shared cloud drive. I used to think these were receipts of our love. Now, they looked like evidence of a long con. I scrolled through, page by page, looking for clues. Soon, I found a folder she had named Work Materials. My gut told me something was off. I opened it. It contained documents and spreadsheets that looked legitimate at a glance. But checking the timestamps, I realized these files were created during her so-called overtime nights and business trips. I opened a document. It was Gavin's resume. I opened another. It was a competitive analysis for companies Gavin was interviewing with. My heart sank. Her overtime was helping her ex find a job. Her business trips were accompanying him to interviews. I kept scrolling. A video file caught my eye. The file name was just random characters. I downloaded and played it. The footage was shaky, likely filmed covertly in a restaurant. In the frame, Elena and Gavin sat together, a birthday cake on the table. Gav, happy birthday. Elena's voice was dripping with tenderness. I'm sorry I couldn't be with you last year. Gavin held her hand. It's okay, Elena. Just promise you'll spend every birthday with me from now on, okay? Elena didn't speak. She just looked at him with adoring eyes and nodded. The timestamp on the video was last month. That day, Elena had told me she was on a corporate retreat in the suburbs. I closed the video. The room was dead silent. An invisible hand squeezed my heart until I curled up on the bed. I thought I was her world. Turns out I was just the placeholder, the rebound, the spare tire she could discard whenever she wanted. A chill rose from my feet, spreading through my limbs. Anger and humiliation bubbled like magma in my chest, threatening to burn away my rationality. I gripped the phone until my knuckles turned white. Elena, Gavin, I wasn't going to let this slide. The pain you caused me, I will return tenfold. I dialed a number. Hello, Sloan Walker. This is Caleb Vance. I need to consult with you regarding prenuptial property division and compensation for emotional damages. Early the next morning, my phone blew up with calls from Elena. I ignored every single one. Finally, a text popped up. Caleb, my parents want to see you. At our place. I stared at the words, our place, and felt a wave of irony. I replied with one word. Okay. I needed to go there anyway, to take back what was mine. I took an Uber to the familiar apartment complex. Instead of going up, I went straight to the security office. Hey, could you pull up the surveillance footage for Building 7 yesterday afternoon between 3 o'clock and 5 p.m.? I handed the security guard a pack of cigarettes. The guard took them and skillfully operated the system. Soon, the footage appeared on the screen. At 4:10 p.m., Elena appeared at the entrance, supporting Gavin. They were intimate. Gavin's hand was resting on her waist. They went upstairs together. It wasn't until 5 p.m. that Gavin came down alone, a satisfied smirk on his face. I had the guard copy that clip, along with several others from nights Elena claimed to be working late, but was actually being walked home by Gavin, onto my flash drive. Only then did I go upstairs. When I opened the door, Elena and her parents were sitting stiffly in the living room. Their expressions were grim. Fruit sat untouched on the coffee table. Caleb's here, sit down. Elena's mother forced a smile that looked more like a grimace. I didn't sit. I stood in the entryway, scanning them calmly. Mr. and Mrs. Ross, I'm here to tell you something. Elena's father, a domineering man by nature, spoke with a darkened face. Caleb, we know about the situation with Elena. She made a mistake, but what young person doesn't? You're a man. Can't you be a bit more magnanimous? Making a scene at the hospital yesterday. It was undignified. He opened with a classic lecture, trying to shame me into compliance. I laughed. You're right. Young people make mistakes. I nodded, then my tone sharpened. But when you make a mistake, you pay the price. Don't you agree? Elena's father stiffened. What do you mean? I ignored him and looked at Elena. We were preparing to get married. For this condo, I put down $150,000 for the down payment. You put in $40,000. Both our names are on the title. Now that the wedding is off, we need to settle the house. Elena shot her head up, looking at me in disbelief. Caleb, you're breaking up with me? What else? Keep you around so you can continue making a fool of me. My voice wasn't loud, but everyone in the room heard it clearly. You, Elena's face flushed crimson. Her mother immediately jumped in to mediate. Caleb, don't say such harsh things. Elena was just confused for a moment. She still loves you. The condo is your marital home. How can you just split it up? Mrs. Ross, if she loved me, would she abandon her injured fiancé to care for her ex-boyfriend's stomachache? If she loved me, would she spend my birthday peeling oranges for him? With every sentence, Elena's face grew paler. Her parents looked increasingly ugly. Enough! Elena's father slammed his hand on the table and stood up, pointing a finger at my nose. Caleb Vance, don't be ungrateful. Is our Elena not good enough for you? She just spent some time with an ex. Is that worth being so petty over? You're just looking for an excuse. Dad! Elena looked like she was about to cry. I looked at this old man, leveraging his age to bully me, and the last shred of respect vanished. I took out my phone and opened a group chat. It was the wedding planning group containing all our relatives. I hit send on the videos. First video, Elena and Gavin intimate at the hospital. Second video, security footage of Elena taking Gavin upstairs. Third video, Gavin leaving the apartment an hour later, looking very satisfied. I didn't add a caption. I just sent them. 1 second. 2 seconds. 3. The group exploded. My aunt at Elena Ross, what is this? My cousin. Holy SHD. Isn't that my cousin-in-law? Who's the guy? One of Elena's relatives. Elena explained this immediately. Elena's phone started vibrating violently. She picked it up in a panic, saw the group chat, and went catatonic. Caleb, are you crazy? She screamed, lunging at me to grab my phone. I dodged easily. She stumbled and fell to the floor in a heap. I'm crazy. I looked down at her, devoid of pity. You forced my hand. I pocketed my phone, ignoring the chaos erupting in the living room. I walked into the bedroom, our bedroom. I opened the closet and started packing. My clothes, my books, my laptop, everything that was mine. Behind me, I could hear her parents cursing and Elena sobbing. I tuned them out, numbly stripping my presents from the apartment. Finally, I picked up a picture frame we had chosen together, housing our sweetest photo. I took the photo out, tore it in half right in front of them, and dropped in the trash. The condo, the car, and every cent you took from me. I'll see you in court. I pulled my suitcase behind me and walked out of that suffocating place without looking back. The doors slammed shut, sealing away my past. Outside, the sun was shining. For the first time in a long time, the sky looked bright. The first thing I did after leaving that toxic house was block Elena and her entire family. The world instantly became quiet. I dragged my suitcase aimlessly down the street. The sun hit my skin, but I felt no warmth. My phone buzzed. It was Sloan Walker. Mr. Vance, I've reviewed the materials. The opposing party maintained an improper relationship prior to marriage, and there is suspicion of asset dissipation. This is very favorable for us. If you're free, let's discuss details in my office this afternoon. Okay, I replied. I hailed a ride straight to her firm. Her office was in a high-rise downtown. When I walked into the pristine, glass-walled room, a woman in a sharp suit stood up. She was tall, striking, with an air of professional detachment. Mr. Vance, hello. I'm Sloan Walker, partner here. I'll be handling your case. Her voice was pleasant, cool, but commanding respect. I was momentarily stunned. I hadn't expected my shark of a lawyer to be so young and elegant. Ms. Walker, hello. I shook her hand. Her grip was cool and firm, releasing quickly. Please have a seat. Sloan sat behind her desk. Let's get straight to it. Did you bring the proof of funds for the down payment on the property? I did. I pulled a stack of bank statements and transfer records from my bag. Sloan took them, scanning them with sharp focus behind her glasses. Good. This is solid evidence. Now, you mentioned Ms. Ross might have dissipated joint assets. Can you elaborate? We were prepping for the wedding. I transferred $40,000 to her account for renovations and appliances. But I know for a fact she only paid a $5,000 deposit to the contractor. Do we have the transfer record? Yes. Is it possible she used the money elsewhere? Investment? Savings? Sloan adjusted her glasses. I shook my head. She's clueless about finance. And I hesitated, then voiced my suspicion. I suspect she spent it on Gavin Zeller. Sloan's eyebrow raised slightly, unsurprised. Proof? Not yet. But I found out Gavin bought a new car recently. Understood. Sloan scribbled on a notepad. Leave that to me. Her confidence settled my chaotic nerves. Sloan, what are my odds? I asked a burning question. She looked up, her gaze piercing. Mr. Vance, law is about evidence. Based on what we have, we won't just get back what's yours. We'll make her pay for her misconduct. She paused. We'll strip her assets down to the studs. That ruthlessness hit me like a heavy drum. Looking at this calm, powerful woman, my previous heartbreak felt almost laughable. A woman like Elena wasn't worth it. I understand, I nodded. It's all in your hands. It's my job. She handed me a card. I'll keep you posted. Also, she glanced at the gauze on my head and my sling, her tone softening just a fraction. Take care of yourself. Don't let unworthy people ruin your life. Standing on the busy street corner outside her building, I felt a calm I hadn't felt in days. She was right. Unworthy. I pulled out my phone and opened my work app. A client's avatar was flashing, rushing me on a design revision. In the past, I turned down rush jobs and advancement opportunities to spend time with Elena. Now, I had nothing but myself and my career. Sorry for the delay. There was an accident, I typed. I'll have the proposal to you tonight. I found an internet cafe, rented a private room, and opened the design software. I took a deep breath, pushing anger and betrayal to the back of my mind. Those emotions wouldn't pay the bills. Only I could save myself. I put on headphones and my fingers flew across the keyboard. In that moment, my world was just code, lines, and creation. I was going to make up for lost time. I was going to show them all how well I could live without them. I stayed in that cafe all night. By morning, I sent the revised design to the client. The response was immediate. Perfect. Caleb, this design is God tier. Miles ahead of the previous version. A substantial bonus hit my account moments later with a note. Consulting fee. Please accept. I looked at the notification, but didn't open it. Just doing my job, I replied. The client messaged again. Caleb, our boss saw your work and is impressed. We're launching a new project and need a design director like you. Interested in a chat? My heart skipped a beat. This client was a unicorn tech startup. Getting in as a regular designer was hard enough. A director role was a career-defining opportunity. Thank you for the recognition. I'm very interested. I replied instantly. I let out a long breath. It felt like seeing light at the end of a dark tunnel. I grabbed breakfast, then crashed at the hotel, sleeping like the dead. I woke up in the afternoon to missed calls from Sloan. I called back immediately. Mr. Vance, I tracked the lead you gave me. Sloan's voice was crisp. Of the $40,000 you transferred to Ms. Ross, $35,000 was transferred to a Mr. Zeller's account. The memo line read, loan. I knew it. My heart sank, but I wasn't surprised. And that new car under Mr. Zeller's name? The down payment was exactly $35,000. It all lined up. Elena took my renovation money to buy her ex-boyfriend a car. The irony was suffocating. Sloan, is this enough to prove dissipation of assets? Absolutely. Her tone turned icy. This isn't just dissipation. It borders on embezzlement or theft, depending on how we frame it. We could involve the police. Police. My hand tightened on the phone. I once wondered if I should leave her a shred of dignity. I realize now that was a mistake. With people like her, mercy is just cruelty to yourself. Okay, let's file a report. I'll prepare the materials. Sloan paused. Also, Ms. Ross's lawyer contacted me regarding a settlement. Settlement? I scoffed. What are they offering? You get the condo, but they only want to return half of your down payment. And regarding the $40,000 transfer, they claim it was a gift and refuse to return it. The audacity. They wanted to steal from me and then countersue. Tell them impossible. I said firmly, the house, the money, I want every penny. And tell Elena I've reported the misappropriation of funds to the police. Tell her to wait for the subpoena. Silence on the other end, then a soft chuckle from Sloan. Understood. I'll relay that verbatim. Hanging up, I felt a weight lift. Leave the legal war to the professionals. I had my own war to fight. I opened my laptop and started prepping for my interview. I wasn't just going to win back my money. I was going to win back my life. The interview was set for 3 days later. I locked myself in the hotel room, curating my portfolio and building a comprehensive visual strategy for the company's new project. I even bought a tailored suit. Standing under the imposing glass tower of the tech giant, I inhaled deeply. This was the first battle of my rebirth. Failure wasn't an option. The interview went smoother than I dared hope. The panel loved my proposal, and the CTO grilled me on technical specs for an hour, clearly engaged. Finally, the founder, a refined middle-aged man named Mr. Sterling, met with me personally. He nodded over my portfolio. Impressive. Caleb, Your design has wild creativity, but rigorous logic. And rare ambition. He looked me in the eye. I'm offering you the design director position. Base salary, $250,000, plus equity and project bonuses. Are you in? My heart hammered. $250,000. That was double what I made grinding freelancers gigs. I'm in. I nodded, suppressing the urge to shout. Walking out, I felt like I was walking on clouds. I did it. I pulled out my phone to share the news, only to realize there was no one in my contacts I could call. My thumb hovered over Sloane's name. I hesitated, then dialed. Sloane, sorry to bother you. Just wanted to say, I got the job. Her voice sounded amused. Congratulations. You sound like a new man. I owe it to you. I meant it. Without her showing me a path to victory, I'd still be drowning in self-pity. Well, to celebrate the new job, shouldn't you buy your lawyer dinner? She asked suddenly. I froze. Of course. Anytime. Tonight, then. 7 p.m. at the Obsidian Room. I'll see you there. She hung up. I stared at the phone. Was she asking me out? The Obsidian Room was exclusive private dining. Expensive. I checked my bank balance, gritted my teeth, and made the reservation. I arrived 30 minutes early. Sloane was punctual. She had shed the power suit for a black dress and a beige trench coat. She looked softer, yet dangerously elegant. Waiting long. She sat opposite me. Just arrived. I handed her the menu, feeling a bit awkward. She didn't take it. You order. I'm easy. We talked for hours. Design law life. She wasn't as cold as she seemed professionally. She was well-read, funny, and cracked dry jokes. I felt relaxed. By the way, update on your case, she said as we finished. My stomach tightened. Elena panicked after learning about the police report. Her lawyer called today. Total 180-degree turn. They accept all terms. All terms. Yes. Title transfer to you. Full return of the $150,000 down payment, plus $50,000 for emotional damages. And she'll return a misappropriated $35,000 immediately. Sloane smirked. But there's a condition, which is drop the police report and sign an NDA settlement. I understood. Elena was scared. Scared of a criminal record. Scared of ruin. Sloane, what do you think? She set down her chopsticks. Legally, take the money and run. It's the safest bet. But personally, her eyes sharpened. I suggest you don't settle. Why? Because if you leave room for people like that, they think you're weak. You have to hit them until they understand the meaning of fear. Her words unlocked something in me. Why should I be soft? Was she soft when she betrayed me? I'll listen to you, I said solemnly. Sloane, we take this to trial. Sloane smiled. It was like fireworks in the night sky. Good. I promise I'll get you a result you'll love. Once I decided to play hardball, Elena went crazy. She called dozens of times a day, sent hundreds of texts. They ranged from cursing me to begging, and finally playing the emotional card. Caleb, 5 years together. Can you really be this cruel? I admit I was wrong. I was confused. Give me another chance. Let's go back to how we were. I promise I'll never see Gavin again. Reading them made me nauseous. Go back. She had some nerve. I didn't reply. I just screenshot everything and sent it to Sloane. Sloane replied with 2 words, received. 2 days later, the court subpoena and the police notification of investigation hit Elena at the same time. I could imagine the breakdown. Sure enough, I got a call from a strange number. It was Elena's mom. Caleb Vance. You ungrateful wolf. What did our Elena ever do to you? You want to ruin her. If she goes to jail, can you live with yourself? Mrs. Ross, the law decides if she's guilty, not me. My voice was flat. Don't forget, the hotel you're staying in is paid for with Elena's card. You're spending our money. What right do you have to sue her? I almost laughed. Mrs. Ross, did you forget that card is a secondary card on my account? I deposit more into it every month than Elena earns in a year. I'm spending my own money. What's the problem? She choked on her words. You will get your karma. She hung up, cursing. I put the phone down, feeling nothing. I started my new job, busy from dawn to dusk. The new environment and challenges pulled me out of the shadows. My colleagues were friendly, especially my direct supervisor, Leo, the tech lead. Caleb, you're killing it, Leo said at lunch, dropping extra food on my tray. I heard you secured that nightmare client immediately. Just luck. Not luck. Leo shook his head. Your designs are legit. By the way, the company is attending the industry summit next week. Mr. Sterling wants you there. Great networking. Will do. Thanks, Leo. The summit was huge. It was my chance to mix with the elite. While exchanging cards with a senior architect, a jarring voice interrupted. Caleb. I turned. It was Gavin. He was wearing a suit, trying to look important, flanked by a few colleagues. He looked shocked. then jealous and dismissive. What are you doing here? Since when do they let people like you in? He looked me up and down. Before I could speak, Mr. Sterling frowned. And this is our new design director, Caleb Vance. Sterling introduced me coolly, then looked at Gavin. And you are? Gavin's face transformed. Design director? That meant a salary he could only dream of. His expression shifted from jealousy to disbelief, then fear. His company was a downstream vendor for us. One word from me could end his career. Oh, Director Vance. A pleasure. Gavin put on a sycophantic smile, extending his hand. Misunderstanding. Totally a misunderstanding. I looked at his fake face and didn't raise my hand. Do we know each other? I asked indifferently. Gavin's hand froze in midair, his face turning the color of liver. His colleague stared at him. No. No, we don't. He retracted his hand, humiliated. I turned my back on him. I could feel his hateful glare burning into my back. I didn't care. This was just the start. Gavin, Elena. You owe me, and I'm collecting. After the summit, my life found its rhythm. The work was intense, but rewarding. I led the team to secure several major contracts, and Mr. Sterling began discussing equity options with me. Meanwhile, my contact with Sloane became frequent. We weren't just attorney and client anymore. She would pass by my office with homemade lunch. I would bring her coffee during her late nights. The air between us was thick with unsaid things. One day after a project meeting, she called. Busy, Mr. Vance? Her voice held a smile. For Sloane Walker, never. I leaned back, smiling. Smooth talker. There's a gala tonight. A client is hosting. Come with me. A gala. I need a +1. She said it like it was obvious. Any perks for being your +1? I teased. Silence, then a low laugh. The perk is, you can hold my hand in public. My heart fired. She knew exactly how to get me. Deal. The gala was at a 5-star hotel. I picked her up. She wore a backless burgundy gown, her hair up, exposing an elegant neck. With red lips and eyes that sparkled, she was breathtaking. Don't recognize me? She buckled in, winking. You look incredible. She smiled, leaning over to fix my tie. Her fingers were cool, smelling of perfume, brushing my neck and sending electricity down my spine. Your tie is crooked, she whispered, her warm breath hitting my ear. I flushed. At the gala, Sloane held my arm tight. We were the center of attention. She was born for the spotlight, confident, elegant. And I, as the man beside her, received looks of envy. It was a new feeling. Ms. Walker, and this is? The host, a portly man, approached us, eyeing me. My boyfriend, Caleb. Sloane introduced me, squeezing my arm. My heart slammed against my ribs. She claimed me? Mr. Vance, a pleasure. The man shook my hand enthusiastically. I floated through the rest of the night. Sloane acted like a partner in every sense, introducing me to everyone. Halfway through, we stepped onto the terrace for air. Back there. Thanks, I said. For what? She leaned against the railing, the wind catching her hair. For agreeing to be my girlfriend. Sloane turned, her eyes bright in the darkness. I didn't agree to that. She smirked mischievously. I said you're my boyfriend. Whether I'm your girlfriend depends on your performance. I laughed. I stepped forward, boxing her in against the railing. And how am I doing so far? My voice dropped an octave. We were close enough to share breath. Sloane didn't back down. She looked up, eyes filled with challenge and anticipation. I couldn't wait anymore. I kissed her. Her lips were softer than I imagined, tasting of red wine. It started tentative and turned deep and hungry. When we broke apart, we were both breathless. Performance. Acceptable, she whispered, voice husky. For now, I'll keep you. I hugged her, grinning like an idiot. Just then, my phone rang, shattering the mood. Unknown number. I hung up. It rang again. I frowned and answered. Caleb Vance. You bastard. What did you do to Gavin? It was Elena, screeching hysterically. What about Gavin? I frowned, my tone dropping to 0. He was fired. You did this, didn't you? You petty little man. You see us trying to be happy, and you get jealous. Elena screamed through the speaker. I nearly laughed at her twisted logic. He got fired because he's incompetent. What does that have to do with me? Stop pretending. If you hadn't humiliated him at that summit, would his boss have targeted him? Caleb, I was blind to ever date a man with such a small heart. Feeling is mutual. I hung up. Sloane looked at me with concern. Everything okay? I shook my head, pulling her into my arms. I'm Fine. Irrelevant people aren't worth our mood. She relaxed against me. I knew Gavin's firing was related to me. My company was a whale client for his firm. After he insulted me, word got around. Getting rid of a low-level employee to appease a major client was business 101. I felt zero guilt. Back home, Sloan texted me. Court date is set. Next Wednesday. Finally, it was time to end the farce. On the day of the trial, I took the day off. Outside the courthouse, I saw Elena and her parents. She looked haggard, dark circles under her eyes, glaring at me with pure venom. Gavin was there too, looking ready to explode. Caleb, Gavin rushed me, grabbing my lapel. You ruined my job. I'm not done with you. Before I could react, a figure stepped between us. Sloan, in a sharp black suit, radiating authority. Sir, let go, she said calmly but with menacing weight. Threatening my client on courthouse steps? Do you want to add assault to your list of problems? Gavin recoiled, intimidated by her aura. He let go, muttering insults. Hiding behind a woman. Coward. Better than living off a woman like a parasite, Sloan shot back coldly. Gavin turned purple. Inside, Sloan was a machine. Logic, evidence, rhythm. She destroyed their lawyer. The transfer records, the car payments, the surveillance tapes. Every piece of evidence was a hammer blow to Elena's face. Elena tried to argue the money was a loan. Sloan asked simply, Ms. Ross, what is your relationship with Mr. Zeller that required you to use your fiancé's housing funds to buy him a car? Elena shook it. The judge's ruling was exactly as Sloan predicted. The condo was mine. Elena had 30 days to return my $150,000 down payment, plus the misappropriated $35,000, and due to emotional distress, an additional $50,000 in damages. Total judgment, roughly $235,000. When the gavel banged, Elena collapsed in her seat, wailing. Her mother screamed. I didn't look back. Walking out into the sunshine, I felt reborn. It's over, I told Sloan. No, she smiled mysteriously. The show is just starting. I didn't understand what Sloan meant until 3 days later. I was in a meeting when my phone vibrated. A college buddy sent a link. Dude, you're viral. I clicked it. It was a massive Twitter thread and a top post on Reddit's AITA and True Off My Chest communities. Title, My best friend's white moonlight ex wrecked her engagement, and she stole her fiancé's money to buy him a car. The post, written from the perspective of a friend, detailed everything. How Elena abandoned me at the hospital for her ex. How she drained the renovation fund. The lawsuit included redacted screenshots of the court judgment and the photo of them cozying up in the hospital. Even with names redacted, anyone who knew us knew who it was. The internet went nuclear. That woman is trash. Abandoning an injured fiancé. Using housing money for an ex's car? That's theft. The ex is a moocher. Disgusting. Doxed them. Reading the comments, I felt a grim satisfaction. This was Sloan's show. The court of public opinion is often harsher than the law. I called Sloan. Did you post that? Not me, she chuckled. I just handed the public record judgment and some context to a media friend with a strong sense of justice. Thank you. Don't mention it. Some people need the world to see their rot. The fallout was swift. Elena was a teacher. The school fired her to avoid the PR nightmare. Her parents, proud people, couldn't show their faces in the neighborhood. Gavin, already fired, was now branded a gigolo and moocher online. He tried to leave town, but his reputation followed him. A few nights later, Elena called. Her voice was hoarse with despair. Caleb, please. Make it stop. Delete the thread. Now you beg. I laughed. Did you think about stopping when you left me alone in the ER? I was wrong. I lost my job. I can't go home. Caleb, 5 years. Help me. 5 years. I cut her off. You fed those 5 years to the dogs when you bought him that car. Pay me my money. I'll pay. Just delete it, she screamed. Too late. I hung up. I wasn't giving her an inch. I wanted her to taste rock bottom. The drama with Elena and Gavin faded into background noise as my life accelerated. I was put in charge of the company's flagship AI project. I practically lived at the office, leading the team through crunch time. Sloan complained playfully. Director Vance, are you dumping your girlfriend for a robot? She leaned against my office door. I walked over and hugged her from behind. Never. I'm working to spoil you, counselor. When does it end? Soon. Final testing. Then we take a long vacation. I promise. I'm holding you to that. At the project launch party, champagne flowed. The project won a gold medal at an international expo. I was the hero of the hour. To Caleb, the team toasted. Later, Sloan drove me home. I was tipsy. She helped me to the couch. You drank too much. I pulled her down onto me. I'm happy. I buried my face in her neck, inhaling her scent. The air grew heavy. I started kissing her, and she responded. Just as things heated up, my phone rang. I ignored it. Sloan nudged me. Answer it. Might be urgent. I groaned and picked it up. Unknown number. Hello. Is this Caleb? An old, tired voice. Who is this? It's Elena's father. My blood cooled instantly. What do you want? I asked, voice flat. He stammered. Elena. Something happened. My face remained stony. What? She and that man. Gavin. They got into a fight. That animal. He broke Elena's leg with a bat. The old man was sobbing. She's in the hospital. Doctors say she might be permanently disabled. I was silent. I could picture it. Two desperate people, broke and hated by the world, turning on each other. From true love to enemies. Karma. So, I asked coldly, you want me to pay the bill? Silence. Then, a pleading whisper. Caleb, I know we wronged you, but can you come see her? She keeps calling your name. Calling my name? I scoffed. Or calling for the money I took back. No. Please. Don't call me again. I hung up and blocked the number. It has nothing to do with me. Sloan handed me a glass of water. It's over. Yeah. I drank the water, looking at Sloan. She was my present and future. I pulled her back into my arms. Where were we? She blushed. Bedroom. Gavin got 3 years for aggravated assault. Elena kept her leg, but walked with a permanent limp. Her parents sold their home to pay medical bills and moved into a slum. Meanwhile, my career peaked. The AI project made me a star. Headhunters offered me the world, but Mr. Sterling offered me 10% equity to stay as a partner. I went from employee to millionaire overnight. With my first dividend check, I bought a ring. I booked tickets to the Maldives. Under the palm trees and beside the turquoise sea, I knelt. Sloan, I thought my world had collapsed, but you were the light that guided me out. You saved me. I want to spend the rest of my life loving you. Will you marry me? Tears filled her eyes. She extended her hand. Yes. The wedding was grand. Everyone was there, Mr. Sterling, Leo, my team. Watching Sloan walk down the aisle in white, I felt like I was dreaming. We exchanged rings, and I saw my parents smiling in the front row. I had finally made them proud. Married life was bliss. Sloan, the shark in the courtroom, was soft at home. We moved into a villa with a pool. I hired staff so she wouldn't lift a finger. You're spoiling me useless, she'd joke, curling into my arms. That's the plan, I'd reply. One day, shopping a luxury mall, we walked into a high-end boutique. And there she was, Elena. She was wearing a sales clerk uniform, limping slightly as she showed a bag to a wealthy woman. She looked aged, her makeup heavy to hide the exhaustion. She saw us. She saw Sloan, glowing and draped in luxury, and a massive diamond on her finger. Elena's eyes dimmed with a mix of jealousy, regret, and shame. The customer shoved Elena. What are you staring at? Wrap this up. Yes, ma'am. Elena bowed humbly, scurrying away without daring to look at us again. Walking out, Sloan squeezed my hand. Does it hurt? I shook my head and smiled. No, it's just pathetic. We were strangers now. Let's go home, wife, I said. Let's go. A year later, Sloan was pregnant. I became a nervous wreck, handling all the cooking and care. When a nurse handed me our wrinkled little son, Austin, I wept. I had a home. A wife who loved me. A son. My life was full. Holding Austin, seeing him sleep, I felt a profound peace. Sloan rested her head on my shoulder. What are you thinking? Thinking about how lucky I am. I kissed her forehead. Occasionally, late at night, I'd remember Elena. Not with hate, but with detachment. Rumor had it she bounced between menial jobs, her bad leg, a permanent reminder of her choice. Her life became a joke the moment she betrayed me. Gavin vanished after prison. They were just stumbling blocks. I tripped, fell hard, but got up stronger. I looked at my son and my wife. My life had turned a new page. The title of this chapter was Happiness. The sun poured through the floor-to-ceiling windows, covering the three of us in warmth. Story complete.